The lesson.
Oh yeah.
And so that single's gone multi-platinum. Then 2 years later, so 2021, that's when you've dropped your 6th album, The Space Between. But in between Exit Sign and you dropping your 6th album, you've put out a single or two in between there that have, both of those singles also went platinum?
I know Then What is double now, and Lean On Me I think is gold, but probably knocking on platinum's door around now. So yeah.
So then then Exit Sign's gone multi-platinum. Then you've dropped these other 2 singles. One of them's gone double platinum. One of them's gone gold. And then those singles ended up on the album in 2021, The Space Between. That's correct?
That's right. Yep.
And then on that album, obviously, like, they were the singles that dropped before it. Was there any other notable features or singles from that album, or they were the 2 standout?
They were the 2 standout. I mean, I had a song called Loose Ends, with G Flip, which came out in the middle of COVID. But COVID fucked the whole rollout for that. You know, we weren't able to tour it. I regret looking back. I mean, you weren't to know, but I held off touring for Then What in 2019 because I was thinking that we were going to do a big tour at the start of 2020. So when that, in hindsight, that was a dumb move because you kind of lose all the momentum. And then the rollout, I mean, fuck, dude, the last couple of years, you know, it's just been impossible to be, you can't plan any of it. Just didn't know what was going to happen from week to week, let alone 3 months in advance to plan an album rollout. So yeah, it is what it is. I really like The Space Between, but it didn't really get a fair chance to do what it should have done because the world was just gone to shit. And you know, in the scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. Many people were going through much more serious shit, but it's a shame because it's a great album and I don't think it really got the love it deserved.
Now, one of the interesting things about that album is, well, first of all, I think that went number 1 on the Australian ARIA charts. And also when you listen to it, it's, for lack of a better term perhaps, it's a bit more of a pop album than it is like a rap album. And you've actually got Guy Sebastian as a feature on there. So why the transition into the more pop sound? Is it something that came from the label saying, you know, we think that you should go more in this direction? Or is it something that just came from you? You just wanted to go in that direction? And if so, why?
Yeah, it didn't come from... I've never signed a deal in my life where I would give away creative control, like even at any point. So any decisions on creativity and the direction come from me and the people that I'm working on the album with. As far as like the sound, bro, I mean, I don't think it was too much of a departure from 2 Degrees. I don't think it was too much of a departure from cinematic. There's less rap, there's more sung stuff, but it's shit that I wrote, you know, like all the big songs, there's other people singing them, but for the most part, I've written the choruses. So it's something that I've done since Pictures, you know, since the first time people like heard a song of mine that had a feature singer. It's been shit that I've written, and I've got better at it. And I still love rap, and I can still write a verse in 10 minutes, and it'll be at least decent. But I've gotten better at writing songs, and that's something that I find challenging, and it's something that I enjoy. So it was always going to be like a natural progression for me for going into the more, not even pop, just not hip hop, you know? So there's songs on there that are like all sung, but I've had songs in the past that have been all sung. I think I started to have songs that were mainstream hits with a frequency that meant people weren't digging into the albums. They just hear what they heard on the radio and make their calls. And that's fine, but it's not accurate. So there's rap songs on Space Between. This is a long answer. I'm aware that I'm waffling, but yeah, it it shits me a little bit that the rap songs aren't given the love they deserve. Because there's a track on there called Wave. It's the intro track, and I think that's one of the best rap songs I've ever put out, you know. But it doesn't get the love because people hear the singles like, ah, fuck, it's just a pop album. It's like, nah, man, you fucking dumbass. Listen to the songs. You know what I mean? And the Guy Sebastian thing, I mean, that's an easy target. Guy's an incredible fucking singer, man. He was on Australian Idol, and he is a pop dude. But he's not going to deny that. No one's denying that. But fuck, man, you listen to that dude sing in the studio, bro, he's talented as fuck. And he made that song. So that song is about it's about people passing away, and like the last verse is about my grandma dying, and my last sort of moments with her. And he brought an emotion to that, you know, not many people could. Like, I brought an emotion to that, but it's my experience. But he's featuring on a track, and he's not talking from my experience, and he's still bringing out that emotion. And that's not an easy thing to do, and only top elite singers can do that. So there's your long ass answer.
No, it's a good answer. That's a very good answer. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. It would be annoying, man. Like, because I know how it works. It's like, yeah, you're that classic example of you start where you started, you've progressed to where you are, and then people are only checking the big singles, and then which is not necessarily reflective of a whole album. It might not even be reflective of half the album. Do you know what I mean?
And yeah, you're right, bro. And like I've never been in it for, like, I know who I am, and I've never really put on a front to be something I'm not. And I've never been that really street dude. I was always in it for the music. I was in it for the hustle. I hustled on the side to make the music, but it was never about being that tough guy, and it's not my thing, you know. So I've never gone into it with that. I've always been who I am. But at the same time, I know I make good fucking rap music. And I know when they talk about like keeping it real and all that shit, man, when I put out Tightrope, I was in, you know, when that shit was going nuts. I went to New York, and I was in an office in Midtown with a contract on the table with a lot of zeros on it, and all I had to do was sign that. They were going to release Tightrope in the States. They'd already signed up a big pop singer, to re-sing it. I'd heard the track I'd heard the hook sung, so it was done. All they wanted me to do was change my voice, like change my accent, rap in an American accent. They wanted to re-release it like that. And I said no. And I turned down a lot of money and a big opportunity. And then the same thing when Paper Cuts happened. I had offers from the States, but they wanted me to change my accent. I'm not doing that. I can't go back home. What I've built up back home means too much to me. So it's like, I've been in that position. I've been there with the piece of paper on the table and the pen in the hand. And I know that I kept it fucking, you know, I kept it authentic to myself. And it shits me because when people want to have shots, it's like, bro, put yourself in. I think 90% of the dudes, if they had the opportunity, might handle it a bit differently than I did. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, bro. But it's I sleep comfortably at night. Put it that way.
Just to retouch, because I'm quite fascinated by this. Like, so to me, when I hear the name Guy Sebastian, I think Australian Idol. I think the biggest name I know of from Australian Idol ever. I think of a huge pop star. Again, when you guys collaborated on that record, was it similar like the Hoods, where it's just pick up a phone call and you talk, or is that done through the label, or how did that come together?
Yeah, that was done more through the label, because he's obviously been with Sony for, I think, his entire career. So that was done through people at the label, mutual connections. I'd met Guy a few times, but I didn't have that kind of relationship with him. So yeah.
And then when you did the single, were you both in the studio together, writing it and recording it, or was it, you know, out of the studio sort of process?
No, yeah, I'd written it, and we kind of sent him the track, and he just replaced my vocals. I spoke to him. I think we spoke on the phone as he was recording it, just sending files and be like, oh, can you do this slightly differently? But at that point, I was traveling all over the world, and so was he, and it was just getting to a point in the album where it was hard to be in the same place, and the song needed to get finished. So it was an economical use of time.
The lesson.
927. Oh yeah.